You're about to hear an interview of a man born in 1872 talk about how he knew the Wild West outlaw Sam Bass. The date was 1949, and a local DJ named Bill George, who is pictured here, spoke with Mr. Will Williams, a man who worked as a storekeeper his entire life in the small town of Denton, Texas. In the interview, Mr. Williams shares vivid details on what he remembered about Sam Bass, who, if you're not familiar with him, was most famous for his $60,000 Union Pacific gold heist in 1877, worth about $7 million in today's money. Sam Bass originally came to Denton, Texas around 1870 and focused on the promise of a cowboy's life. He worked honest jobs such as hauling freight for the town's sheriff, tending the stables at the Lacey Hotel, and laboring in the local sawmill. But in 1877, after moving to the famous gold rush town of Deadwood, South Dakota, Bass had turned to crime, leading his gang called the Black Hills Bandits in the bold Union Pacific train robbery at Big Springs, Nebraska, snatching $60,000 in gleaming gold coins, the biggest haul of its kind up to that time. Afterward, Bass used a hideout in Denton, Texas called Pilot Knob, a hill southwest of town filled with caves, where legends still whisper of buried gold hiding in one of those caves today. Mr. Williams also talks about how he and his family opened up a general store in the town square back in 1884. Called the Williams Dry Goods Store, it offered items such as fabrics, household goods, canned staples, and farming supplies, all brought in by wagon from larger Texas ports. So now let us get into this amazing historical interview. The date of the recording was sometime in the summer of 1949.
Thank you and good afternoon. Today on Denton Story, we have as our guest Mr. Will Williams, senior partner of the Williams Store, located at Court Square East. Good morning, Mr. Williams. How are you? Or good afternoon, I might say.
Thank you.
Mr. Williams, I'd like to ask you a few questions here this morning about yourself. You're an old Dentonite, aren't you?
Yes, yes.
Was you born here in Denton?
I can throw a rock to where I was born.
You can throw a rock to where you were born, huh?
Where I'm sitting now.
I might ask you to put in a little plug for your age there. When were you born here?
I was born in 72.
In 72, that's 18, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
You know, I'm thinking, I've been adding here on my fingers and toes, that's a little before my time. But you mean you were born right out, we're sitting in the back of your store, we might tell the listeners, and looking out the back window here on East Hickory Street and Austin Street. You were born right around here, huh?
I was born where the lumberyard, where the Temple lumberyard is.
Oh, over there by the lumberyard, right there where it's occupied now.
On that ground where the lumberyard is.
Well, Mr. Williams, how long have you been in business here in Denton?
Well, this store was started in July 84.
In July of 84, at the present location?
No, farther down the street, on the east side of the square, but farther north from here.
Oh, yes, and you've really progressed since then, haven't you?
Yes.
Mr. Williams, I want to point out here about, since you're an old Dentonite and the picture Calamity Jane's opening today at the Texas Theater, I'd like to point out a little bit about Sam Bass. You knew Sam, didn't you?
Well, I just remember. I was very small and remember Sam when I was a very small boy.
He used to come through Denton. That's a picture about Denton, isn't it?
Come through? Why, this was his home, the only real home that Sam ever had.
Well, that's what I wanted to point out. I thought maybe it was, but you know, I'm not a Dentonite originally. I'm just trying to become one.
Sam's bones should be moved and buried here in Denton.
Well, you know, yesterday afternoon when we were over at the Texas Theater, see that picture yesterday morning, I should say, when they showed a special showing of Calamity Jane for the friends and neighbors of Sam Bass, we saw that Sam, as they started off the picture, there Sam was coming into Denton, and it showed Denton just all the way through, didn't it?
Yes.
You know, we also started to drive over there. We might make this announcement that you kicked in $50 to help this nationwide drive along to have the bones of Sam Bass moved here to Denton, which I think should be too, don't you?
Yes, I think so.
Well, Mr. Harrison did that also. He kicked in $50. That's $100 we have now, and I think it'll progress right along to where, before long, if anything can be done about it, the bones of Sam Bass will be moved here.
Well, I'm in hope so.
Well, I'd like to also say that tonight at 7:30, you'll be on the stage of the Texas Theater in person to tell a little bit about knowing Sam Bass, and that also we'll tell a little bit about this campaign, and they'll see that fine picture, Calamity Jane, which is depicted right here around Denton, and does bring out a lot of Denton. Say, let me ask you this. You've been here a long time, longer than Buford and I are old, and throw in Gene Fletcher there, too, I imagine. We're all young boys, you know. What do you think the difference of Denton of the past and Denton of the future? Can you tell us a little bit about how how old Denton used to look, where the riding stables was, and things like that?
Livery stables, you mean?
Livery stables, that's right. See, I'm not very old.
There was a livery stable on every side of town.
Well, now, where did Sam Bass keep his Denton mare? And didn't he keep it over here at one of the livery stables that's now occupied by a business on the square?
No, he kept it where he worked, from Sheriff Bill Egan.
Oh, he kept it where he worked, huh?
Yeah, he worked for Sheriff Bill Egan as his boy to look after his stock and cattle about the place. And in the mornings when he left, he'd bring the mare up and hitch her to an old mulberry tree out the corner of the kitchen so that Miss Egan would have her eye on her all the time. He was afraid somebody would poison her or steal her.
Well, I'll tell you, let's don't go into about that Sam Bass deal, because tonight we're going to have you on the stage of the Texas just to do that, and we want it to all be a surprise to us. Also, we'd like to ask you about the square here. Has it changed much since you were here when you first came into this world?
Oh, yes. We always had the courthouse, of course. That is, this courthouse was built in '96. The one before that was built in '75. The one before that was built in '57. This is the third courthouse we have now here in Denton.
This is the third courthouse.
Yeah.
Well, there businesses around the square like there are today?
Well, all the businesses then, except livery stables, was around the square.
How many did you think they had in those days? I mean, they didn't have near the amount they have today, but about what would you say the number was
then? The square was nearly always filled up. Even in those days, with this and that and the other, restaurants and little stores and one thing and another. But, of course, they've been pushed out now by bigger businesses on the square. But the square has nearly always been fairly well filled.
You say they've been pushed out by bigger businesses. You mean like the Williams store? Throw in another plug for you there. Well, now, when did you originally open your first Williams store here in Denton?
Well, in July '84, the store was opened to C.A. Williams. That was my father.
That was your father. Well, you might tell us a little bit about your family history, and we might point out right here, and I'd like to pay you a personal compliment, if you'll take it as such, that I think a man of your age has a marvelous memory that can remember these dates, and believe you me, this is strictly an informal interview today, friends, and he has no notes whatsoever and doesn't know what question's coming next, and I want to really pay you that compliment. I think it is grand to have a memory like that.
Well, we always had a courthouse square up here, fenced in around the courthouse, but it was smaller than it is now, just with posts and a chain around to hitch to. We later moved the courthouse square over to the county line, you know, and moved all horses and wagons off the square down to what is now known as the market square. That market square was given to the farmers of Denton County by my father, C.A. Williams.
Well, now, would you tell us just a little bit more about Mr. C.A. Williams? He seems to be a pretty big man here in Denton also. Did he ever hold any office in the public life, or did he ever have anything unusual that you might elaborate on for us?
He was sheriff twice. First in '56 he was elected sheriff, and then when he come back from the war, he was elected again. But when he was elected the second time, carpetbagger Governor Davis wouldn't let him serve.
Why is that?
Because he didn't like he didn't like his what do you call it? They didn't like his pledge to the federal government.
You mean his platform to the federal government?
No, he thought it wasn't proper, so he threw him out of office.
Well, I'll be doggone. That's
So then a federal ex-captain from Kansas come over and took his place and was the taxes, tax assessor, tax collector, and sheriff was all the same office in those days. And he started out collecting taxes, and the father said he was the best collector he ever saw, that he almost took blood from the people to collect the taxes. When he'd collected all the taxes he thought he could, he put the money in the saddlebags and rode off to Kansas.
That's really pointing out Denton of the past for us today, Mr. Williams.
So then Governor Davis sent a requisition up here and asked my father to serve out his time, which is about 3 or 4 months. And he served out the other end of the time under Carpetbagger Davis's appointment.
Well, now, he never was sheriff while Sam Bass was living here, was he?
No, he was in business when Sam was in business. You know.
Oh, he was in business here then?
He was in business several times before he was with the Williams store. He used to be in business with a man by the name of Stroud. Then he was in business with Judge Scruggs. Before that, then he was in business with himself, you know, before that he was in business in 84. So he sold Sam goods and charged them to him, and Sam always paid, too.
Well, I understand that Sam was one that always paid his bills, but as I say once again, we're going to point that out at 7:30 tonight when we make a broadcast from the stage of the Texas Theater, with you to appear with us in person. Let me ask you this. You've seen Denton of the past, and you're seeing it right now in the present. What do you think that the people of Denton could do to improve this fine little city for the Denton of the future, Mr. Williams? That's kind of putting you on the spot, but, I mean, some of the things like making a two-way square out of this, which was just recently changed, we understand, to a one-way square. Do you think they ought to take the parking meters off, or do you think that they ought to remodernize all the stores around the square? Just what do you think that we could do to improve our city?
I think, well, of the parking meters, I think that is fine.
You think that's fine? Does that seem to hinder your business or hurt it in any way for people?
It helps our business.
It helps the business, not to have the free parking, but to have the parking meter. Well, you know, that's one thing we'd like to point out. We're talking with Mr. Ball over here the other day, and he seems to think that the parking meters kind of stop the people from parking, and they don't trade as much here as they used to.
We like it better.
You like it better? Yeah. Well, I'm certainly glad.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Williams, I'd like to take an opportunity right now to tell the listeners just a little bit about your store in case they haven't had an opportunity to come down here. It's a very beautiful store, and you carry a complete line of just about everything that you'd want in a dry goods store, and quite a bit of ready-to-wear, too, don't you?
Oh, yes.
I believe you carry the famous, what shoes is that you carry?
Freeman shoes.
Freeman shoes. I see that ad up there, neon lights. Say, I'd like to ask you a question.
Dobbs hats.
Oh, Dobbs hat?
Yeah.
That's one that I'm not wearing, so I can't say much about Dobbs. I'd like to ask you, as you walk in the door there, that you have 2 modern display cases on each side. Does that mean you're planning to enlarge the store and put in modern display equipment?
We will add more up-to-date furniture than we have now. We've only got a little of it in.
Well, that certainly does look nice, but you have a nice store regardless, and it's nice and cool in here with all these big fans blowing, air conditioning units, and all these pretty girls waiting on you. After all, that always helps in business.
Well, we have the finest girls in Texas in our store to wait on the trade.
I believe you there, and you also have 2 mighty fine gentlemen up there on the front, and then you have several working back here in the office. Who are those 2 boys up there? They look a lot like you, Mr. Williams.
Well, one of them is Bill Jr., and the other is Alec.
You mean Bill Williams Jr. and Alec Williams Jr.?
Yeah.
I mean Alec Williams?
Yeah.
Well, so they're your sons, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's where we get that senior partnership. And how long have they been in business with you, Mr. Williams?
Well, since they were old enough to... One of them was in the war 3 years, and when he come out, he's been in the store with us since.
Well, they're 2 mighty fine boys.
The other boy, they wouldn't take in the war on account of some... He had trouble he wouldn't pass.
All right.
The other boy was in the Air Force 3 years.
Uh-huh. Mr. Williams, I'd like to also ask you a little bit about the rest of your family. Do you have any more children?
2 girls.
Well, is your wife still living?
Yes, sir. Very much alive.
Very much alive. The way you say that, you're kind of happy about that. Say, listen, I'd like to ask you, I've been looking here at some pictures you have on the walls. See 4 on my left and about 5 or 6 on my right, and a pair of spurs up there. You must be a horseman.
Well, I am.
What kind of horses you go in for, Mr. Williams?
Well, during my life, I've gone in for most any kind of horses, but I'm cutting it down now to registered Shetland ponies.
Registered Shetlands? How many do you have?
More than 100.
That's a lot of money tied up in Shetland ponies, isn't it?
All registered and as fine as there is in the world.
You haven't got one you'd like to sell me for about $25 or $30, have you?
A week or 2 ago, I was offered $1,000 for one I got.
My gosh, $1,000. I have to work 10 years to make that much. Mr. Williams, what else do you have to say about your Shetland ponies?
Well, I don't tell the revenue man that it's a fad of mine at all, because I couldn't deduct. I tell him it's my business.
Well, Mr. Williams, just to help you out then, we will make a special announcement right here. If there are any Internal Revenue men listening, please turn your radio off now because Mr. Williams doesn't want you to know what he's saying. Mr. Williams, we're going to have to say goodbye to you now, but we want to thank you and once again want to congratulate you on that fine memory you have for remembering Denton of the past, Denton of the present, and Denton of the future as it is today. And we'll see you tonight at 7:30, and we want to thank you once again.
All right, thank you.
And don't forget, friends and neighbors, to be with us at 7:30 tonight on the stage of the Texas Theater, where Mr. Will Williams will be there in person to tell a little bit about his memory of Sam Bass. And don't forget, Mr. Williams really has a remarkable memory. Friends, we've been trying to point out Denton of the past, Denton of the future, and Denton of the present. We have taken our roving microphone into the Williams store on the Court Square East today to bring you an interview with Mr. Will Williams. Be with us again tomorrow when we take our roving microphone into the businessmen's stores, offices, churches, and schools to bring you the Denton story. Until then, this is Bill George returning you now to our main studio.